Here's our super exciting welding fabrication project. If you want to follow along, take this piece of aluminum pipe, and I got a piece of flat bar outside, and we're going to turn it into something like this, which is a handrail, or something like this. All right, my friends, we are back again Monday, July 7th, 2025. Hopefully you guys had a good 4th of July, so we're back again. I'm not sure when this video will be out, but anyway, it's 86 degrees, cloudy, rainy. It was like raining on and off today, and definitely humid out there, so it feels like 90 something. Grab my flat bar, and my Blue Jay friend is up there waiting for his lunch. He had a long weekend with no lunch. He's got to wait a minute. All right, here's our piece of aluminum. This should clean up with some aluminum cleaner afterwards. It was sitting outside. Bring you along for the journey, and here we go. Here's our flat bar and our pipe, and that should be all we need besides a couple other stuff maybe. Over to the saw, and we got to cut our stuff out, but I'll show you what I'm doing. So here's our handrail, 74 1/8 inch long, or that's why I got to cut this piece to 27 1/4 to cut this piece to. And we got a piece of flat bar right there that'll bolt to a wall. There's like a wall, I guess, and then it'll get bolted up here. So it'll be a flat bar, and then your piece of pipe up here, if that makes sense. And then the 45-degree cut right there, cap on the bottom, and some little gussets on that side. This side doesn't really need it. And some bolt holes like this to bolt it to the wall. And here we go. Need a camera guy, but anyway, let's figure this out and see how our best way of cutting it is. So I'm going to need two 45-degree cuts, a 45 and a 45 for those two pieces, then a straight cut and a straight cut. So what I can do is chop a 45-degree cut on that side and a 45-degree cut on that side, and then I'll just measure from that 45 to the straight end and chop a straight, and then same thing from there, chop a straight, and the middle will be our leftover piece. So I think that'll work. Got my saw set on 45, locked in, good to go. Make sure you set your zero, your speed going down like that at 0. That way you don't crash it. And we'll give it a go. All right, got both of them cut. Now loosen it and bring our saw back to a 0 stop. Somebody cleaned this off for us. That was Sergio, thank you. It's actually nice and clean. Now we'll bring it this way, measure it, and chop it. Make sure we get our cut right. So we want 74 1/8 too long, the long side of the 45. So here we go. All right, 74 1/8 and a hair over, like a 32nd to a 64th over. That way when I grind it down, it'll be, or deburr it, it'll be perfectly on our size. So give it a go. All right, all our two pieces cut out, our two flat bars up here cut out. Now we gotta grind it, deburr it, maybe round some corners on this, drill some holes, and go from there. But for now, I'm gonna put that stuff away and not leave it up there because we don't want it to get cluttered like some stuff does. So, put it away. Now we're got our parts, just gonna deburr them with the flap disc and grinder. It's like a 60 or 80 grit flap disc designated for aluminum only. Sometimes I'll share it with stainless, but here we go. Just do that, and I'm gonna bevel these, put a little bevel on this because then I'm gonna grind it down probably afterwards. So I want to make sure to get a bevel on that, and I'm gonna round these corners on these too. Just makes it look a lot nicer. It takes a good little bit longer, that's why it's still hot, but to round those corners, but it looks a lot nicer, I think, and you don't bop your hands or won't worry about like cutting your hand on it or something when you're going to install it or somebody. So kind of safety thing, and it looks a lot better. That may be something you may be able to charge for too. Like you can give the customer an option and just say, would you like your corners rounded or not rounded? We could save you a little bit money by not rounding it. And I don't know, I just do it as a courtesy, but up to you. And I noticed right here, there's like a scratch, and I don't know if it's from just being in the rack or something, but going all the way down it, I don't know if you could see that. So I'm gonna get that off with something. Find something now. If you could see, I straightened up a little bit over here the other day. Working on straightening it up over there, because that's been sitting there for like a while. That whole table, that's all stuff for the press, but no one ever uses it. But anyway, sorry. Probably use this wheel or something to do it on a drill. I took this little wheel on the drill, lightly did that so I didn't put heavy scratches in it. Went around this, and I did one side of this because you won't see the other side. And I'll still end up cleaning it with the aluminum cleaner outside before I weld it, but we're good to go. Drill some holes and we could go from there. Yeah, we got our little layout holes, and it looks like 7/8 off of each end. Oh, and 3/8. Oh, 3/8 holes, 7/8 off each end. So we'll lay it out. All those, and before I forget, I'm gonna mark the center of one of them and drill a hole in that for my vent hole. Yeah, so if it makes sense for this vent hole, this end will be sealed up. Sorry, the camera's shaking a little, but this end will be sealed up of the tube. It'll be going all the way through there, and I might need, that end will be sealed up too, but I don't want to drill a hole right on the bottom there, because you might see it, even though it might be good, but if I do it on this plate, which would be this plate like this, it will be hidden and behind there, and you won't see it, and it'll be behind the wall and everything, so it should be good. So that's what I'm choosing to do, because you might need a vent hole still, even if you try to weld it. It might be too much pressure and stuff filling it up, and it'll blow out the gas on you, so, or the air or whatever, so you probably need a little vent hole. And while I'm waiting for that drill press over there, I'm gonna take my little handy deburr tool and just go the extra mile and get the insides of these, get all those little burrs. For aluminum, I really don't use any lube or anything like oil to drill the holes with for something small like that. So I got this stuff, it's not sponsored, they just sent it out to me, Anchor Lube. I've been seeing their stuff for a while, and I really liked that. I was actually going to buy some, but they reached out and see if I wanted to try their stuff out. Now it looks really good for like stainless steel, they say it's good for, but pretty cool. It's like, it's not liquid, it's like a little jelly type stuff, and I got a couple of different stuff for like tapping and stuff it's really good for. So I'm just gonna give it a try, put a little bit on here, and it doesn't really make a mess, so give it a try. All right, like a 1/4 inch hole for the pilot hole. Put on a little high speed, put a little jelly on there. Whoa, that's a lot. I can't even see where I put my foot. Should have put on the foot. It does help. I don't know, I might like it. That stuff actually worked pretty good. It'd be better to put it on your drill bit instead of your part, or at least kind of clamp your part down and see where it is. Don't do it like I did, because I couldn't really see the hole at that first one. But I mean, I don't use oil really for anything else. So I got a little thing of oil there for aluminum. I don't really use it for aluminum, but that worked pretty good. I'm sure other stuff would work good for aluminum too, but I'm happy with it. All done. Doesn't have to be right away, but always good to sweep up your area when you're done. Just lightly, carefully go over your holes. Make sure there's no sharp spots on your deburrs. And like, it looks halfway decent using a drill bit. Not as good as a countersink, but not that bad. Now I think we're all good. Now I could clean everything, and with the aluminum cleaner, we could get ready to start laying it out, fitting it up, and start tacking and welding it. If you couldn't imagine it before, but this will be how it goes with the 45s like that, fit up like that. The one with the hole in it will be like that, going into a wall. and then this one's going to be bolted on like that, and that'll get bolted onto like, it's kind of like a wall like this. So it'd be like, here's your thing coming up, and here's another wall right here, so it's kind of like a curb or wall or something. So this will get welded on like this, and they're gonna want some gussets going like down right here, so like a little piece of flat bar. So maybe I'll cut that out really fast too. I'm thinking like 3x1 maybe would be fine, or even like 2.5 by 1 inches high would probably be fine. So 2 pieces. I'll just cut that out really fast. All right, we got all our pieces cleaned up, cut out, ready to go. Cleaned up with the aluminum cleaner, dried off and everything. So here's our 1 pieces. Here's going to be our cap. I forgot that I cut that out. And instead of, we don't really have a good bandsaw to cut like circle pieces out. So instead of putting it on the notcher over there, like tracing a piece out and put it on a notcher, all we had was 1 inch. I was looking for like 1 1/4 would have been like perfect, but just a little gap I'll have in there, but I'll fill that up, put that in, fill it up really fast, and just grind a little flat on there. I think that'd be a little faster, but all cut out, ready to start going. Get the welder set up. Now, gonna set that to about 20 CFH. So I got my purge going, and it's a little high, so right up there. Setting number 2 is my aluminum. I keep it at 250. Frequency 125. Pump that down to about 33% electrode positive. Down slip none. End amps 10. We'll just go 15 on the post flow. Start amps 0.3 seconds, or post pre-flow. Start amps 40. 40 amps for start amps, up slip none. 250. High frequency TIG, 80 advanced square wave. And we're using a green CK Worldwide 1/8 inch tungsten with a number 6 standard cup. And here we go. Just gonna weld and grind this cap really fast, and we'll go from there with that. All right, that was a little harder than I thought it was gonna be. Just having that big of a gap and not being able to hold it flush back like that. If it was magnetic, I could have stuck a magnet onto it. But anyway, we got it. I think I probably should have did it the other way, but I'm not really worried about what the weld's gonna look like. I'm gonna either chop it or turn a little bit down in the lathe maybe, and should get it pretty good. Be right back. Mission backfired. The through hole on the lathe was too big and to fit this through, so I put it on the bandsaw and I tried taking like an 1/8 inch cut off of it, and I cut through the material, which is fine. I'm gonna get rid of that, but I'm going to the plan that I should have done in the beginning and just trace this out, and I'll cut that out and we'll weld that on. Without a bandsaw, I did this all on the notcher, and it's all right. I'll just deburr it and weld that on, I guess. All right, here's our piece kind of ground down. That should fit on right there. Put a little weld on, grind it down, and hopefully it's good to go. I made it a little bit smaller, so it should fit on good. All right, that's good enough for that. It's gonna get hidden. You're never even gonna see it anyway, but pretty good. I just ground it down with the grinder, and then I went over it with that wheel thing that I used before for that, and just put it in the lathe, and I just spun it on the drill and did that really fast, so pretty good. Now we can start fitting it up. But we are getting towards the end of the day. A lot of people talking, so held us up a little. Now we got to think of order of operations on how I want to weld this. Do I want to put these on first, and one on each end, and go from there? Or do I want to fit this thing up, which I think is a better idea, and then that way it's nice, flat, and clocked like that, and then I could just shim it up whatever I need to for that desired length and weld that on whichever way it goes or whatever. I think that's the best option, so we're going to do that. And I'm going to just put some pins in the table, or if you don't have pins, just clamp your one piece down, and you could use a fireball square. That's what I would have if I didn't have a table. And clamp it down, put the square in, fireball square, clamp it all together, and that should be pretty much 90. Or you could use a square or something, but time lapse here for fitting it up. All right, we're pretty good. We're within like a 30-second. That's like a 30-second long. And this is pretty much on the money right there. So we're good to go. If I didn't have a fixture table, because I put the pins in and it makes a perfect 90 degrees like that, I'd probably just end up using a fireball square and clamping it like that, clamping it down to the table, and works pretty good like that. So if you do a lot of welding fabrication, these are definitely worth it, or something like that. And make them in all different sizes. Here's one I would actually probably get, is this bad boy. Make it a little bigger. So, up to you. You can start tacking it and welding it, I guess, but I'll get 1, 2, 3 tacks right there, flip it over, get the other one, and I'll clamp it back down like this. And we'll start welding it, flip it over, clamp it down, weld it, and then I'll grind it down probably tomorrow, because we're almost the end of the day and I don't know if I'll get to that. So, cool. But there's my little bevel right there. That's why I put the bevel on. Right, I was having a little trouble with porosity and stuff, but this is going to get ground down. I'm not worried about how that looks. Rather have it penetrating good, and I like to make sure I get it in good and hot and add enough wire on there. So that's good with that. Other side, I had a little porosity. Hopefully I don't have to go over that, but I don't know what it was. The bottle, I turned up the gas a little bit or something, the tungsten, but anyway. That's it. Let that cool down, then we can grind it, but might have to wait till tomorrow, but maybe we'll get it today. All right, back to it next day. Here's the one side. Here's the other, that one's. And it should all be, most of it ground down, maybe except for a little bit on the inside. So you can see a little bit of porosity in there, but ready to grind down. All right, all ground down with the flap disc. Gonna go over it with that and go from there. All right, pretty much done. What I did was I cleaned it up with the flap disc. I didn't go all the way into the metal. Like I did leave a little bit up here and up here of the weld, and it blended in really pretty good. Hold on, I'll show you. Yeah, I think it blended in pretty good. You don't really see much high. Some of it's a little higher. I did that on purpose just to make it a little stronger. Same thing like in here. Got some good weld still. So what I did was use my wheel and I mark a little bit with the tape or tape measure, just a little bit more than that inside seam right here and the wheel. So that was like 3.5 inches. So I just went 3.5 from here to here, 3.5 here to here, put some tape straight around it, and then did that. And then I went over it with a Scotch-Brite by hand, which you could do if you don't have one of those wheels. And voila, looks pretty good. And just like that, my friends, I think you have a good little corner around it right there. But I did that so it sits flat on the table. And now we could start putting the ends on. Ready to fit this piece up like that. And I just marked my center of here and then went off half of the distance. It's 1 5/8, so I did, I think it's like 13/16 each way. And now find my distance here, which looks like 2 1/8 maybe. And we'll get 2 1/8 shim and we'll shim this whole piece up. So we could just go into our shim box. Got 4 2-inch ones and 4 1/8-inch ones. So like that, and put them throughout there and it should be good. All right, so here it is. Shims up like that. I'll put another clamp on and that should go almost exactly pretty good right there. And I'll just get a square on the back and clamp that down and it should be good to go. All right, we are clamped down, double checked all my measurements and we're good to go. And put my square up and tried to make it short. You gotta make sure it's kind of square like that too when you clamp it on. And we did that. And square that way, and we're square this way. Square with the table on our measurements. Should be good to go. Probably just gonna tack this one up, tack that one up, and I'll time lapse you for it, and then we'll weld it out after. All right, we got our pieces. I guess we have to make it the same as last time. I was gonna put these flat like that, the flat bars, but that's how they wanted it, up like that. So it kind of messed me up a little bit. So they might not be able to put a washer on, which is fine. But with the weld on, it should clear that. And I think they might be using this is like a 3/8 bolt. They could be using a 1/4 inch too, so even the washer still might fit on there too, but it's possible it might not. But anyway, we're gonna weld that, and we should be good to go. There's still a tiny little bit of porosity. It's weird. Besides that, but I didn't wire brush it, but here's this one. Had to hook a little bit of wire in there to fill up that little gap, but not the best, not the worst. Got a little weld on the back side, that should be good. A little weld on that back side should be good. Now we just gotta weld that one up there. Oh, porosity in there. I don't know what that is. It's irritating me though, that porosity. All right, this is a little older video, so the arc shots, they're not great, or I didn't really try getting them, and it turned out to be a longer video than I planned for, so I'm just speeding it up through things. I'm not really voiceovering it, and hopefully you guys somewhat enjoyed it. Still porosity. I don't know what that is. I just switched out my cup collet back cap, sharpened my tungsten. The only thing I'm thinking is it could be the material and the cleaner I used. It wasn't an aluminum cleaner, it was the stainless steel cleaner, so possible it's that, or it's the gas or the torch, but I'm gonna have to do some trial and error. It wasn't like horrible, but you just see that little floaters on top, which is kind of bothering me. We definitely got our penetration, no like holes or anything, but we're good to go when it's done. Just gonna give it a quick cleaning and good to go. I will let that cool down for a minute before I wash it off though, but that's it. It's gonna stand kind of like, here's your curb, and then there'll be a wall right here. It'll be like something like that, I guess. I think. But that's it. Look a little better once it's all cleaned again, but that looks pretty good like that. Not too shabby. Gotta figure out that porosity problem that's bugging me. Not the prettiest welds. Had my vent hole right here, so did good. It's nice and hidden. These rounded corners really help and make it look a lot better. They don't help, but well, you don't like you won't cut yourself or stub your toe on it or something and won't cut yourself. That's it though. What do you think? I had another video of what do you call it, handrails and stuff. I might have a couple on there with that polishing and stuff. Still might have more to edit and stuff. Of handrails, probably do, but anyway, thing to do. I cleaned everything up while I was waiting for this to cool down, so everything's all away, ready for the next project pretty much. Good to go. All right, everybody, all cleaned up, ready to go. It's all done. Double checked all our measurements. We're all good with that. Came out pretty clean, I think. Still got a little right there. That's right too. But just freshens it up when I clean it with that cleaner. And I gotta figure out what that problem is, because that's 2 times. Last week I remember I have 2 more videos coming out of stuff I was doing, and it was giving me porosity too, so something weird. But anyway, sorry about that. Here it is. Nothing fancy, just a quick little project, even though I'm sure it turned out to be like 20-30 minute video, but I guess that's for you guys. But seriously, let me know if the videos are too long. I'm going to really try making them shorter, and what you'd rather see. If you'd rather see not as much welding, a little bit, how long the video, let me know with that. But that's that. Here's another cool thing. I guess this would be my first sponsor, Vevor mag drill. We're going to take this thing out and give that a little review. Stay tuned for that if you want. Anyway, here it is. Here's our little welds. That helps make it a little better because it's a little harder to weld inside there. And our weld around here, pretty good. Well, that's it. So essentially go, I don't know, with the handrail. That's how it goes, and that's it. Happy birthday, I guess. But yeah, I know I have other handrail videos out and stuff, so if you want to learn that polish and stuff even more, look at that video and whatnot. But don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, watch the ads and all that good stuff, because now I get paid for the ads if you like to watch them. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. See you on the next one. Chris Winarski, over and out.